Alright guys, so today I'm going to be showing you the tutorial and explanation to my last card trick. Now if you haven't seen the trick, it's called Jack's Jump, and the link will be on the annotation on the screen, and it'll also be a link in the description, just in case. Now you can look at that, refresh, or whatever you need to do, and then you can come back and watch the tutorial. So let's start out on what you're going to be needing for this trick. You're going to need go into your deck and get the 4 jacks, and also the 4 aces. Now there's also one other card you're going to need, and that's a duplicate ace of hearts. Okay, now technically you could get any duplicate ace, but if you want to follow along, it'll make it more simple if you just get your ace of hearts. Okay, just put that with everything else for now. Now, just some other things you'll need. You're going to need, obviously, the rest of the deck, and a wine glass or a cup. You don't have to go and break in glasses now. Okay, just be careful. And optional. This is optional. You don't need this. This is double stick tape. This is completely optional. You don't need to add this to the trick. I'll explain this more later on where this can be applied and how it will be used. Okay. So let's start off with how you're going to set up your aces. Okay, first off, you're going to set up your aces, and then after you set up the aces, you're going to model the exact way you set those up with the jacks. Okay, so what you want to do, if you want to follow along with me, is set up clubs, diamonds, spades, hearts. Okay, now notice I took out a duplicate ace of hearts. Because I have the duplicate ace of hearts, my top card in this packet, if the aces were face up, should be the exact match. Now, say your match, the card you took out, the duplicate ace, was the ace of spades. Your top card should have to be the ace of spades, okay? So, you're just modifying it to whatever duplicate ace you took out, okay? So, obviously, if it was the ace of diamonds would be on top here. The ace of clubs would be on top, okay? So, whatever you need, just make it so it's perfect. Now, with this duplicate ace, you're going to take it, put it face down, okay? Make sure it's face down, and put it on the bottom of the packet. So you're going to have the 4 aces, and then the duplicate ace right smack down on the bottom, okay? Now, you're going to use your jacks, and you're going to just exactly model this exactly. So I have clubs first, so the jack of clubs goes down. Then the ace of diamonds, so the jack of diamonds, the ace of spades, so the jack of spades, and lastly, the ace of hearts, so the jack of hearts. So just do the exact match. Okay, now this is just going to make it so that when we have our glass, and all of a sudden a jack jumps to the glass, when you turn over the ace under the glass, it will be the exact thing. So you'll see why. Now with these, you're ready to go. Now you can either start off with the cards inside the deck, and you have to pull the cards out, or you can start off with them just in your hand. Now, some of you may find it's easier to start off in your hand with just all these cards, but some of you may find that it's more convincing when you actually take the cards out. Now, if you were going to just put these inside the deck, just make sure you don't disturb the order, you know. So, if you were going to do the jacks here, notice I'm putting them in the exact order, so that when I take these out, notice if I were to take these out right now, like that, they're in their same order and everything would be fine. Now with the aces, taking them out is a little more tricky, and this is where you would have to practice and decide whether you want to keep the cards out of the pack or if you want to actually try to go through the deck and take out all the cards. And that's because you have this card face down. Now some of you may find it very, very challenging to take out these 2 cards. Now, what you want to do is put these together inside the pack. I myself know that it's tough to just take out 2 cards like that, okay? But I find that, you'll notice I did this in my performance. It's absolutely fine. You put this on the bottom of the deck. Then you go through, and you gotta pretend like you have no clue where these aces are. You're like, and the last one doesn't want to show. And then when you get down to the bottom here, you're just going slower, okay? Because if you go too fast, they're going to be able to see that card. So if you go nice and slow, you'll be like, oh, here it is. And don't flash anything, just pull it up and take it out, okay? It's fairly simple to do. With a little practice, it'll be easy. But it's all preference, okay, guys? If you don't want to go through the deck and take it out, if you find it easier to just start off with these cards, feel free to do so. Now, let's say you've just taken everything out. You want to make sure you take the aces out of the deck first. If you are doing that way, you want to take the aces out, then the jacks. So, you have this, okay? Should look pretty similar. What you want to do now is get a break under the last card here. It should be pretty easy to do because it's going to be turned the opposite way of everything else. And because of that, natural bend helps you get that card. Pretty simple. So, after you have that break, you're ready to rumble. Okay? You're going to show the first jack. You're then going to show the second jack. The third jack. And now on the fourth jack, you're going to be picking up every single card above this break. And that means you're picking up 5 cards. That's going to be a substantial packet. And you want to make sure you don't hold it up there for too long. Obviously, you can hold it up for a second, make sure they see. But you want to make it on a decent speed where it's just turning over the cards and putting them face down. Okay? So once again, you're going to catch that break under the bottom card. Okay? You're then going to take the first, the second, the third. Make sure you're keeping this packet square the whole time. And now with your thumb, you're just grabbing this whole packet above that break, and you should have 1 card in your hand here. Show it, and turn everything face down. Now, I don't know if some of you noticed this in my performance, but the spectator might remember this. You know, I never placed the aces face down. If you don't know what I'm saying, what I mean is, when I'm showing you these jacks, these aces have never really been face down, so when they see that face down card, they're a little confused. Now, some of you may have noticed this, and on YouTube, it could be a real problem because they can rewind, they can see that. Now, in a live performance with a spectator, they might second guess themselves, but most likely they're not going to remember exactly, okay? Now, the thing that gets it, I don't know if you guys realize this, but after you do everything properly, turn it face down, you count off 4 cards, okay? These are actually the 4 aces. They think it's the 4 jacks. They see all these cards face down, okay? Now, because they see these cards face down, they're assuming the aces were face down. I don't know if you guys understand that, but if you think about it, it does sort of make sense. Now, you have you're going to count off 4 cards. Those are actually going to be the 4 aces. They think it's the 4 jacks. You're going to place those underneath the glass here. Hopefully, that's not too bad for the camera here. And then you're going to put, supposedly, the aces inside the glass, but really, it's just an ace and 4 jacks, okay? Then it's just snapping your fingers and you put out the first card. Now, because of our order, this should be perfect. You should have the ace of clubs. See, because you made it a perfect model and it was a mirror image, these cards should come out the exact same order as the jacks. Okay, so there they are. Now, here's where the double stick tape comes in handy. Now, you don't have to add this. It's completely option. I know some of you don't like double stick tape, and I can relate to you. I see why. See, because here you really have 5 cards, and one of those being an ace. The double stick tape you would have put on the back of the jack of clubs, and because of that, it would have sticking to the ace of hearts, and you wouldn't be able to see that ace. It would just totally vanish from the pile, and it looks pretty good. Now, you don't have to do this. You could just show 1, 2, 3, 4 jacks like that, and try not to flash, or whatever you want to do. It's really up to you, okay? You could just go on with like this, and you'll be fine. I mean, as long as you don't have the spectators examine the cards, you should be fine. But if you do want to just have this, just make it a little more examinable and whatnot, you can just add a little piece of double stick tape to the back of this jack, really small, real small, and just tap it a ton. You don't need it sticky at all, okay? Just a little bit of stickiness, just sticky enough so it can catch this ace of hearts. And, well, you guys can experiment with that. I know you guys will do fine. And that is the trick, guys. It's fairly simple. Hope you guys like it. Make sure you don't break glasses when you're doing so.